Hey guys, welcome back to the course. In the last video, we had work on this copy image functionality. Later on the videos, once we integrate the API, we start working on this down like image functionality. So far we had completed this, home screen along with the input and the generate button, download functionality, save functionality, copy image functionality, and this home screen. After that, once user click on discover screen, user will see this screen. We had also done with this, but the thing we had done so far is that called UI stuff. Okay, now it's time to start working on the logical part, that is called server part. Okay, so for the server, if I talk about, so let's go to the browser. So what we're gonna do that, if we talk about the project architecture, how it's gonna be look like. So we create a Node.js MongoDB server, like basically we create one server which is consisted of, like, we're gonna use Node.js, Express.js, and MongoDB. It's gonna be a very simple CRUD operation, so you're gonna understand it quickly. And also we're gonna use Supabase to store the images. Okay, so this is all the technology which we're gonna use. So we created one server, and after that there we will create two APIs. The first API is to generate image. So whenever the user hit the, whenever user will send a prompt as a payload, okay, and we hit the API called generate image. In the backend, we call to the Flux model using the together AI, and we will store the image to the database. Why we planning to store the image to the DB? Because once the user go on this screen, let me show you this screen, discover screen. Here we will show all the images whatever the user has been generated. Okay, that's why we need this explode screen, this explode API along with the pagination. So you're gonna also learn that how to implement the pagination. Okay, so now after this we're gonna start building the server, which is gonna be really straightforward. Okay, and we'll also see that how to deploy it on the Vercel. Perfect. Now let's go back to your ID. Here you can see that inside my post directory, I'm gonna create another directory. Name is a, okay, let me create one directory. Name is a server generative generate image AI, server generate image AI. Okay, now let me open this directory to the VS Code. Okay, so let me open to the VS Code. So more, okay, again let's go to the here, so more options, open with code. Okay, now we had opened this directory in the VS Code. Now to create a server, what we have to do, first click on terminal, click on new terminal. Once you're done with this, you have to write npm init -y, npm init -y. This will create one package.json file, as you can see that. After that, you're gonna create one file that is called index.js. Okay, and here you're gonna require some packages. The first package which I'm gonna install, that is called npm express. Okay, so I'm just going to install the npm express. Once you install the express, we're gonna write const express is equal to require express. Okay, once you import the express, you have to write const app is equal to express. So you have to create the instance of express. After this, you're gonna write this function app dot listen. Okay, inside the listen you're gonna define a port. Okay, it could be a port, could be anything. So I'm going to define one port variable here, const port, and it could be like, for now I'm going to just run it on the 8080 port. Okay, and we're going to define the port app.listen. The first callback, the first parameter this function will took, that is called port, and the second callback which will took, that is called a callback. You can see that. So we're going to write the callback as well. So let me write the callback like this, and here we're going to write like this. After this, you're going to write console.log server is running. Okay, server is running. Okay, we're going to write like this, server is running on this port, server is running on port we're going to define this port. Okay, and we're going to use template editor to run this port. This is optional to you, you can add any console, whatever you think good to you. After this, if I just run node index.js, you can see that our server is running on port. Okay, but if I do so many changes here, like let's suppose if I do some changes, it will doesn't reflect in the real time. So for that, we're going to use install the node mon. Okay, so let's go to the package.json. You can see that we had just installed the express. Now we have to install the node mon. So I'm just clear the terminal. After that, I'm going to type npm I minus d. Minus d means it's a dev dependency, and we can write node mon. Once you hit the node mon, oh my bad, I make a typo, npm I minus d node mon. After this, you're gonna go to the package.json. Inside the package.json, I'm gonna just add a quick command. The first command will be like start. Start means that will be whenever you run npm start, it will run this command node index. Okay. Another command is that if you use a run dev, so we're gonna run this command node mon index. Okay. This is the command we are going to learn, that node mon index. Like whenever the user run node dev, so it will run a node mon index. As you can see that in the dev dependency, we had added the node mon. You have to run this npm I capital minus d node mon. After that, we're gonna run npm run what? We had added dev command npm run dev. So if I run the, okay, let me clear the terminal. After that, I'm gonna just run npm run dev. Okay, so once I run the npm run dev, you can see that node mon index, it is starting from node mon, and you can see that service running on port. So if I do anything changes on the real time, it will reflect, it will restart the server. That's why we are using node mon. After that, the next thing which we have to do, we have to start creating the APIs. Okay, as I already mentioned that we're gonna use a database for the MongoDB, but let's do one thing. Also, whenever we request or something, okay, let me move this line of code here like this. Okay, and here we're gonna do one thing quickly. So let me do that. That is called, we're gonna write app.use express.json. Basically, we're gonna tell that the parameters is coming from the front end, that is called JSON format. So it will make a JSON format if it's coming as a string format from the server. Okay, now after that, let's create one route. Okay, so inside this index, after this index directory, we're gonna create one directory. Name is a routes. Okay, routes, and inside this routes, we're gonna create one file that is called image routes routes.js. Okay, inside this file, we're gonna import the express again. Const express is equal to require express, like this. After this, once we require the express, we're gonna write const router is equal to express.router. Okay, this is the boilerplate code which you have to write to create an API or endpoint. After this, we're gonna create one endpoint that is called, the first endpoint will be router.post, the post operation, and its API name will be generate image. Okay, and here we have to pass the controller. Okay, so we're gonna create the controller as well quickly. So to create a controller, what we have to do, we have to create another directory. Okay, name is a controllers. All right, and the controller name I'm gonna make is image controller. So let's make a one file name as a image controller.js, like this. Inside this controller, we're gonna create one function called const generate image. Okay, it will be a async function which will take request and response, like this. Okay, after this, once you create this function, we're gonna perform some task, but we're gonna export this module.exports is equal to what? Generate image function. Okay, after this, once we export this function, let's go back to the routes here, and we're gonna import this function or this controller. Okay, to import this controller, we're gonna write like this const, and we're gonna first of all require the controller. So let's require the controller / image controller. Here we will get suggestion generate image. Okay, if I go to click on this, you can see we went to the generate image function. Okay, after this, we're gonna just pass this generate image function. Okay, so far we had completed this, we had created the controller. After this, we're gonna just module.exports.router. Okay, we had created this so far, and after this, let's go back to the index.js. Here, to create the API, what we have to do, first of all, we have to import the image routes. So we're gonna write const image routes is equal to what? Require again, and we're gonna require this image routes. Routes / image routes, and after this, you're gonna write like this app.use, okay, and /API Okay, and we're gonna pass the endpoint, the route's name, image routes. Okay, now as you can see that what we had done so far, let me explain you guys quickly. So first of all, I had created what I'd done npm init minus y to create the package.json file. After that, I installed the npm express. Once I installed the express, I require the express. After that, I define an app. I call the express instance and store in the app variable. After that, I define app.use or express.json. It's a boilerplate code which converts the JSON format, whatever the string we are getting from the front end. After that, I make the app.listen parameter to start the server. Like it will listen the server, and server is running on this port. After that, we had created one endpoint app.use/API, and inside that we had created one image routes. So if inside the routes we created one directory called routes. Inside this directory we are having image routes. Inside this directory, first of all, we are requiring the express. Const router is equal to express.router. We are having a generate image and requiring that as controller as well. And inside this router.post, we are calling this function, which is a controller. So we created one controller, name is a const generate image, and we are just exporting this controller as well. Okay, now let's suppose, how can I test that? Do we had created? So I'm gonna make one endpoint. We're gonna test this API. So I'm going to tell that calling generate image. Okay, let's do one thing. Instead of having console, we're gonna send a response from the user. So we're gonna have a try catch block like this, and inside this controller, whenever the user are done with this, so we're gonna send a one response, return response dot what respond dot status. We're gonna send a status of respond dot the status of 200. Okay, and the JSON, and then we're gonna send a JSON that message generate image success. Okay, we're gonna write the logic later in the next video. Write the logic to generate the image in the next video, but we are just creating the boilerplate server, so it become easier for you to understand as you are guys beginner or new to this project, new to the Node.js or backend stuff. And if there is any error come up, so we are sending the status of 500 and dot, we're gonna send a JSON again, and error will be what error dot message. All right, now how we can test this API? Okay, we are getting some error because the JSON should be an object. I'm passing like this, my bad. All right, so this is how we create a Node.js server. Now to test this API, what we can do, open your Postman, open the Postman. So I'm gonna just close force close tabs. Okay, force close all tabs. Okay, now I'm gonna click on new. So what is Postman, guys? I think Postman is a software which helps us to test the APIs. Okay, so we're gonna use this Postman to test our APIs. Okay, so you guys can download the Postman from the browser, and you're gonna learn the Postman about this as well, but I'm gonna start from the beginning. So after that, once you click on download the Postman, you have to click on here. Okay, and here on the collections you will see on the top new. Click on the new request, click on HTTP request. After that, here you have to type http colon slash local host. After that, you have to define the port name. My port name is like 8080, so I'm gonna just write localhost 8080 slash, okay, which API I want to hit, that is called localhost slash API. And in here image routes, we're gonna hit this endpoint generate image. So I'm gonna just copy this post route name as well, and here I'm gonna just paste. And what is the method? The method is post request. So let's update the method at a post. Now let's click on send. Okay, once I hit on send, you can see that I get that response 200 and generate image success, as we are sending the from here generate image success. Okay, if I add an exclamatory symbol and again hit this endpoint, so you will see this generate image success. Okay, so this is how we create a Node.js server. Let me explain you once more and summarize this stuff again. Okay, first of all, we do npm init minus y. After that, we initialize the express app. Inside that, we had defined an API endpoint. Inside that, we had created one routes, image routes. Inside that, we had defined a path like API endpoint generate image, and we are passing a one controller that is called generate image controller, and this is the things which we are passing it out. All right, and We had also tested on the Postman by passing the http://localhost:8080/APIs/generate image, which will just sending a response. Perfect. Now, yeah, let's go back to the Figma. So we can write server stuff started, okay, and we're gonna make it 40. Create a Node.js server. We had created a Node.js server in this video. Also, let's talk about the Git functionality in the next video, how we can add the Git and how we can deploy that as well. So if you guys having any questions, just let me know, and also please visit 0degreecoder.in to learn the React Native. I think that's all in this video, guys. Thank you. Bye.